His Lordship the Chief Justice K.C. Bhavan, the Honourable Attorney General, the Honourable Solicitor General, His Lordship Justice Vijit Malalgoda, the Deputy President of the Bar Association, and Honourable, their Lordships and Ladyships of the Superior Court, and the other distinguished judges and Learned President's Council and distinguished invitees, Your Excellencies, dear colleagues, and above all, Sri Lanka Vimani, Judge C.G. Veeramandri and Mrs. Veeramandri. On behalf of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, which I also believe includes members of the official and unofficial bar, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to this felicitation of Sri Lanka Vimani Christopher Gregory Veeramandri, or Judge C.G. Veeramandri, as he is known to many of us. A prophet, they say, is not known in his own country. We sometimes fail to recognize persons who have contributed significantly towards our betterment and enrichment, though they are, or because they are too close to home. Perhaps it's because we become all too familiar with them and fail to realize their worth. We often praise and extol the virtues of people after they are no longer with us, and even establish foundations for the departed which struggle along to perpetuate their memory long after they have gone. We seldom acknowledge and celebrate the living, and so we are here to pay tribute to Judge Veeramandri, not only for what he is, but for what he stands for, and what should be his lasting legacy to us. We will have eminent speakers referring to Judge C.G. Veeramandri and his contribution to the judiciary and to jurisprudence, both locally and abroad. Therefore, I will not elaborate on those details now. Judge Veeramandri has had an illustrious career as a practitioner, a scholar, a jurist, and as a judge, both locally and internationally. We of the bar should treasure events such as these where we felicitate Judge Veeramandri today. These events recall the past and the lessons we can learn from them, apart from reminding us of the proud traditions of the bench and the bar. In the hustle and bustle of our day-to-day activity and the professional life, especially in this fast-moving world when technology coupled with a belief in everything instant, from Maggi noodles to fast foods or to instant IT solutions is the fashion, we sometimes forget the age-old indispensable values of courtesy, humility, transparency, and the basic sense of right and wrong when discharging professional responsibilities. Often experience, success, and fame or position at any cost appears to be what matters. It is not that we must dwell or wallow in the past or necessarily go back to the old ways or methods, but we must realize that there are values fundamental and perennial which are at the foundation of professionalism, and above all, that they are fundamental requisites for a decent existence. In Judge Veeramandri, we see humility, simplicity, unoffensive frankness, which perhaps is bedrock in his deep religiosity. In fact, it was at his request that we kept his felicitation somewhat low-key. His religiosity is not one merely stemming from his belonging to a particular faith, or in his being a regular church-goer, or in performing his regular religious functions. Such would be cosmetic, superficial, and for public consumption. His religiousness stems from the need to walk the talk. He, I believe, lives by precepts and the deep values of religion. By their fruits you shall know them. In other words, as all adherents of a religious faith are expected to be true to the precepts of the religion, so too, I believe, he journeys on. Judge Veeramandri goes beyond. On my several conversations with him, I was privileged to learn that he is deeply convinced that there is a commonality to all religions when it comes to basic human values such as equality, respect for the environment, and the fundamental dignity of all persons. To him, human rights enshrined in our religions and culture are not an import of an alien system, but very much part of us. As a judge, one of his memorable contributions to the system is that his judgments were scholarly and well considered. I recall late Justice Mark Fernando, in the course of a seminar, mentioning that when Justice Fernando was a junior member of the unofficial bar and a junior to one of our legal luminaries of days gone by, and when they too were opposed against eminent legal luminaries for the opponent, Judge Veeramandri, then a judge of the Supreme Court, had politely reprimanded the inadequate assistance of both sides in not providing comprehensive written submissions, and that he had to do his own extensive research to write the judgment. This was though, as Justice Fernando insisted, the research and submissions of both sides had been painstakingly done. Judge Veeramandri therefore strives for excellence. Additionally, he also believes that there should be collegiality and brotherliness among judges, no matter whether or not they strenuously disagree on aspects of interpretation of the law or deliver dissenting judgments. The functions of the judge are official functions, which should not erode or color personal relationships. He considers the role of a judge as sacred, like a priest's office. Judge Veeramandri has been respected for his steadfast search for the upholding of truth and justice. During the height of the apartheid regime in South Africa, when invited to deliver a lecture, he agreed to do so on the condition that he cannot be restricted or directed in his content or physical movement. His wishes, Judge Veeramandri informed me, were respected, and he was given access to any location he requested and to say anything he wanted. Obviously, he spoke unfavorably against the apartheid regime, but had no adverse consequences upon him. His demeanor and conduct on the day, it is widely reported, were dignified in keeping with his judicial office. He was not known to use harsh words or entertain suspicion or bias against parties. Neither was he open to suspicion or hints of bias in his conduct. He could be dignified, stern, and forthright. He could stand against the odds being only dictated to by his conscience. Judge Veeramandri has, in the case of the World Health Organization nuclear weapons case, dissented on the premise that there was no exception under any circumstances, including the claim that it was needed for the survival of the state, to the general principle that the use of nuclear weapons was and is illegal. His recent writings on law and Buddhism, law and Christianity, law and Hinduism, and the lessons of the system of justice to be elicited from these religions demand consideration. He is a strong advocate of peace education, which is a prime need for reconciliation in our country. He believes that peace education should be imparted to little children in schools to catch them young before their minds are polluted. Perhaps he is mindful of the sentiments of Nelson Mandela, that great statesman whose sentiments were that all humans are born to love. They are not born to hate, but they are taught to hate. It is those innocent little minds who yearn for love who are polluted by the evils of us in society. National integration is born in the hearts of citizens. When it dies in their hearts, no army, no government, no constitution can save it. States of mind precede states, said Nani A. Paltiwala. We have the privilege today of giving you the writings by Judge Veeramandri related to Buddhism, Hinduism, and Christianity as handouts. Unfortunately, his writing on law and Islam is not available with us, as it is only going to press this weekend in the Sunday Times, for which I may have to advise you to purchase a copy of the Sunday edition of the Sunday Times next week. But I assure you that the Sunday Times has not sponsored this event. Judge Veeramandri, may you continue to enrich our traditions and systems, especially now more than ever, as a peace educationist and jurisprudential thinker. Thank you.